vision. You lift me up, fill my eyes with wonder. Forever young in your love, this freedom's untainted. With you, no moment is wasted. See the sun now bursting through the clouds, black and white, turn to color all around. All is new in the Savior I have found.
So these are the books we read for our 2015-2016 school term. So our read-alouds, readers, and our summer books. We read Pedro's Journal, and this is about Christopher Columbus, and it's told through the eyes of this young man that's on his ship, and it's told in a journal form. As you can see, Pedro's Journal. They're just short little journal entries. The author says they are not a historian. They did not write this book to teach you about history. It's mainly to entertain you and get you interested in the history of Christopher Columbus. So there's not a lot of history to it. There's some, but it's just brief. Walk the World's Rim. That was a very good book. This is about a Native American culture, Mexico, Spanish culture. Very interesting, keeps your attention. My daughter loved it, kept her attention. This is just historical information, all about the different tribes, and the different areas that they lived. She enjoyed that. Now, this is a really good book. We really enjoyed this. This is by Elizabeth George Spear. Now, I want to find some more of her books. Oh, actually, we do have another one of her books that we read. Very good author. So, The Son of the Beaver. This again is about Native Americans and a young boy that is living out in the woods in the 1700s, and he becomes friends with this Native American boy because he's left all alone. They help each other in a way. The Witch of Blackbird Pond. This book was about a young girl. I believe she goes to live, her grandfather dies. She used to live on the island of Barbados, but her grandfather dies, so she has no one to live with. She has to go to America, the Colony of Connecticut. It was very early on, of course, when the colonies were just starting out. And it's a really great story. She has to learn the way of living there in a colony, how they live. It's much different than the way she did live. And there's a story about a possible witch. And there's some romance in here. My daughter didn't think she was going to like that, but she actually enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed it. Justin Morgan Had a Horse, another Newbery honor. This is also a really good author, and she wrote many other books about horses, like Misty of, I don't know how to say it, Chincoteague, Misty's Twilight. She wrote several other horse books. But my daughter loves horses, so she couldn't wait to get into this book. So this is a really good book. It's about this young horse that they think is just a little runt, and there's nothing that can be made of this little horse. But he ends up being a really strong horse, emotional, perseverance, the love of the animal. It really made me love horses even more than I already did, and even consider getting my daughter a horse after reading these books. We went find more of her books, and we couldn't find, I think the first one, I think they're supposed to go in order, so we read Misty's Twilight. That was good. Polliver Secret. This is all about the British Army and this young girl pretending to be a boy so that she could deliver an important message from her grandpa to General George Washington. It's an adventure. It's about a young girl about the same age as my daughter, so she really liked that. So you get a little bit of history in there, mostly adventure, some geography. Okay, so these books are books that we already owned or that we bought. So I'll go over those. This one, of course, is missing the cover, as you can see. I guess it was very well loved and it's old. This is Little House in the Big Woods. This is a book by Laura Ingalls Wilder, as you might have guessed. I guess it's the first one, and then Little House on the Prairie, Farmer Boy, and all the others. So we'll definitely have to look into reading the other ones. This was a good book. This told a lot of history of the, I guess, like pioneer frontier days. A lot of stuff we didn't know. We definitely thought it was weird that they used a pig's stomach as like a balloon or a ball for them to play with. Oh, and it had a pig's tail. The balloon was, let's see, but even better fun than a balloon was the pig's tail. I think they like to eat it, which is just gross. But you really get to see how they lived and how they lived on very little at all, and they still made it work and had a good time and loved each other and took care of each other. And it's just a really good family story set back in the olden days, the very, very olden days. Let's see, maybe it tells Big Woods of Wisconsin. I looked it up and it says the Laura Ingalls story begins in 1871. And this is an autobiographical children's novel. So it was 1871. We read this around Christmas time because it was, of course, perfect for that time of year. This would be the second time that we read this book. I want to try to pull it out every year and read it around Christmas, just as a tradition. Of course, you can see it was in the discard pile at whatever library we got it at. It still has, or it did have, a little card, you know, that they would punch when you go to the library. Do you remember that? Anybody? I do. Okay, so this story, of course, is like Frosty the Snowman. It's about a snowman that does come to life. And it's about this young boy that moves into this new neighborhood, has to make new friends, and he builds this snowman. And of course, he comes to life. And I think his neighbor is in on it, in on the magic fun, and they try to make sure no one else finds out, but you just have to read it if you can find it. I don't know if this book can be found, maybe Amazon somewhere, but it's a really good book, good story, heartwarming. It's nice. We enjoy it. So I have two more books to talk about. Onion John. This is a book we got from somewhere. I don't know. Maybe it was given to us, a yard sale. This is about this young boy who plays baseball, works in his dad's hardware store. I guess what you would call an all-American kid. Well, he meets this town, sort of like a town freak, I guess you could say. They don't really understand him. I think he lives out in the woods. He searches through the trash for things. He speaks in a language no one understands, like a made-up language. Well, the boy befriends him, gets to know him, learns to communicate with him, tries to bring his friends along and let them get to know him, but no one seems to understand him like the boy does. So it's not raining, and they want it to rain, and Onion John leads the way on this crazy little short expedition and ritual that will start the rain. But the boy's dad is not okay with him hanging out with this man and doesn't want him to influence him. So dad sort of puts a damper on things. I don't know that I enjoyed it that much. It does teach friendship and just tolerance. Horse Diaries. This one's about Elska. We found this at Barnes & Noble. Like I said, my daughter loves horses, so this was right up her alley. So this is about horses and Iceland, the Icelandic ponies. It's about one in particular. So I believe it's about a little girl that comes to own the horse, but it's taken from her. Anyway, it's a really good book, and we want to go back and get the other ones in this series. And it's told from the horse's mouth, straight from the horse's mouth.